Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on codandtech.net. My name is Shibam Dhar and I will be the host for this talk. With me today I have a Gold Microsoft Student Ambassador, City Lead of GirlsScript Indore, winner of Microsoft Visual Studio Code Hackathon and more, Miss Simran Makhija. Hello Simran, how are you doing today?
Thanks a lot for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great and thank you for joining this session. And if
The
we
pleasure
start
is
with
mine.
if we start with the question, so the first thing I would like to ask you that you are when I was seeing your work, I saw that you are part of many tech communities with very active and appreciative work, I must say. So many students are yet to be part of such
Thank you.
communities. I would like you to tell about this thing that how a student should go towards a community and how they should work well inside a community.
I'm sorry I missed a part of your question thanks to my internet connection being unstable. Could you please repeat
Yes.
yourself if
So
that's
my
all
main
right?
question is that since you are part of many communities, I just want you to ask that you tell the viewers that if someone is who is not yet part of any community, then how that person or the student should move ahead, or if he is inside a community, then how he should work well, because it is not always that someone will guide him or someone will mentor him 24 hours, but he should know that what he should do in the meanwhile.
Okay, so I think, as you said, not someone will guide you 24/7. Honestly, with colleges that fall into the third tier of technical institutes in our country, it is more like nobody's gonna mentor you unless you go looking for a mentor, right?
Right.
Like most of us don't find the kind of at least community role models that we'd like to have. In that case, I guess I got a little lucky, I would say, because I had, if you've heard Yashraj Nayak, he's the community manager
Yes.
for India at Progate, and he's from Indore. And he had started the Indore technical community. So the best way to get started with any technical community as a student is meetup. Like meetup is the one place, at least during when the meetups were offline, it was one place where you would go look for your local Google developer groups, other technical groups, and just look for meetups that are happening. And if there's a technology that attracts you and there's a meetup centered around that, go and attend. Also, I guess in my first or second meetups with Facebook developer circles and ITC, I just went there, attended the meetup, learned some tech, and I came back, which was all right, which is okay if you're trying to get used to the scene. But once you're into the scene, once you've started attending more meetups, you meet more people. There's one thing that you have to keep in mind for every single meetup that you go to, at least come back with five new people in your network, because all meetups have around 50 people minimum. So like come back with five new people in your network. And I'm not saying LinkedIn network, because there's one really good thing I learned about LinkedIn is that if you go somewhere and if you start if there's this thing called find people near me. So when you're in a meetup, there's a probability a lot of people would have turned that on, and you can just connect with people there. That is different, but make five meaningful connections at every meetup. What that leads to is your personal network expands. When I say meaningful connections, is that you've sustained at least a 5 to 10 minute conversation with that person, and you've learned more about them as a professional or their career choices, and you've discussed with them how you could maybe collaborate in the future, or ask them what meetups they attend and what their journey in the community has been like. So make five meaningful connections at every meetup. That is the kind of an agenda that you should have when you're going to offline meetups. But in times like ours, like in the COVID times, we've got no offline meetups. So we're here with online events where you'll mostly just go to a YouTube live, and then it's just that, you can't do much more.
Right.
So what you do in that case is YouTube lives have a live chat section, and there's people like me in there trying to hype up my friends that are in the live and trying to help everybody in the live chat. So not just me, there's a lot of people that jump in the live chat. So look for people there then. And you can actually have meaningful conversations in YouTube live chats. Sounds absurd, but it happens. You ask a question, someone gives you an answer, you ask a question again, and you form that kind of a flow where then if you hit that person up on LinkedIn, you just send them a connection request with a message that I saw you in the chat there and we had this conversation. I'd love to connect with you. That makes more of an impact, always does. So that's how you start joining into a community without officially being in any community, and slowly you just start to understand how these brands like the Microsoft brand or the GirlsScript brand and these communities, how they help us and how you can become part of them. So the best way is to form meaningful connections everywhere you go, whether it's an offline meetup or a YouTube live. And if it's a Google Meet, again, like there's another, meeting kind of
Mhm.
sessions that happen, which are supposed to be interactive. So you might not be comfortable showing your face, but always try to talk instead of writing in the chat. So if you're talking with the panelists or with the speaker, there's a high probability that you will form more of a connection there and take more than just the learning of the session with you. You'll take connections. And when your network grows, there's a uh, what do you say, very normal, I guess, very common saying we hear in communities: your network is your net worth. So, as
Yes.
much as your connection grows, your connections grow, your network grows, you learn more and you come across wonderful opportunities. So I guess that's my little input on that. So yeah.
So basically, like network is very much of the main step if someone is going inside a community, because until and unless you know people, you
Yes,
won't be able to understand what is happening outside your world, because you have to maintain yourself with
definitely.
others also. True, true, that's right.
Also,
Okay.
with most
Yeah.
colleges, I was just saying, we're just bound
Mm-hmm.
inside this academia in colleges, and to see outside that community really helps. So just entering a community is not enough. You got to be active. You got to
True.
actively talk to people. Yeah.
Right. So, since you took part in Microsoft Visual Studio Code Hackathon, and yes, your team won it also, I would like you to please share us with some tips for the students who are willing to take part in hackathons. That how to process from beginning to end for any hackathon in order to get some fruitful outcome, whether it would be their own win or maybe a self improvement.
All right. So, hackathons are something that I have more of an online hackathon experience with. And so, what basically hackathons are supposed to be is an innovation marathon. You'll see this in many places, they're innovation marathons. So,
Mm-hmm.
there are generally just two things that you should have in your mind when you enter a hackathon. If you're entering with a team, then it'll be just one thing where you'd want to innovate. But two primary things that you keep in mind when you enter a hackathon is: one, again, you want to build your network. Even if you're entering with a team, you will see ample number of mentors, and talking to mentors is very important even to your hackathon building process. So talk to mentors, get to know them. The hackathons are a great place to network as well. There are some chill activities happening on Discord, because if it's an online hackathon, there's
Yes,
chill
right.
activities happening in Discord. Participate, get to know people, talk to people, network. That is one thing that will add value, obviously, as we've spoken about the importance of network before. But coming to the idea of the technical side of hackathons, the project building. So most hackathons have a lot of themes. First of all, they have like 3 to 4 major themes, like education or healthcare or maybe accessibility or a solution for the COVID times. So the first thing that you focus on when you're entering a hackathon is the theme of the hackathon. So you pick up one of the many themes, and in the opening ceremony for most hackathons, they announce prizes. Now, there are a lot of different prizes. There's the overall winner, then excuse me, there's the best beginners hack, and then there are some sponsor prizes like Matic or I guess even in MLH hackathons, you have the
Yes,
GCP
right.
prize.
Yes.
So those
So there are
prizes are
just
there in a lot
different
of
type of
hackathons.
versions and themes based prizes and the sponsors basis prizes, right? Yes.
Yeah, so you've got to decide first that which theme, because if your hackathon is an open theme hackathon where you can maybe hack to any theme, then it's different. But if it is a thematic one, or if there are 3 to 4 themes, the first thing you have to think of is which theme do you want to build for. Once you decide on a theme, now you'll obviously, while you're there for the experience and for the project, you are looking forward to winning. That is something that we
Right.
all have in mind, that we've got to win. So when you pick a theme and then you decide on a project, I can give an example of a hackathon we participated in. It was MLH's Suns Out Hacks Out, and there the theme was basically the end of summer party kind of thing, and there was a sub theme where it was a hack by the developers for the developers. So in the larger theme there was this sub theme where you help hackers improve their hacking experience. So while when a lot of themes, the list of themes comes in front of you, it is very common for ideas to start popping in your head. So as soon as that one theme sticks in your head and you have an idea, okay, this is the project I want to do, you have a discussion with your team and you decide on the project, then the thing that you need to decide on after that, before you start your actual work, is what all prizes are you aiming for, because accordingly you'll use technology. If you're aiming for the domain price or for the GCP price or the Azure price or the Matic price, you'll have to use that technology while developing. So these are like the very first beginning steps of how you start your product, how you start working on your hackathon project. And once you have a clear idea of your project and the technologies you want to use, um, yeah, there's at least spend half an hour to 1 hour brainstorming with your team on the features that you want to build around the concept to have a concrete idea of your project. One mistake that I made in the first hackathon that I participated in was that we dived straight into the development, and that never works. You've got to have a concrete idea of what you want. If and most of your viewers must be from the engineering domain, some from the CS domain, and we do study in our software development and software engineering classes that we're supposed to first form our data flow diagrams and then some requirement analysis. And while those are very important to actual products, in a hackathon you don't have that time. You don't have the time to
Hmm.
form entire documents, but you
Right.
need to do those things, right? You need to have an idea. So a data flow diagram is always a good idea, where you decide how your application goes and works. So spend some time on that. It pays off towards the end. You should have a clear concept in your mind, and then you should divide work amongst your team and start working on the project and developing. And because a hackathon is usually 24 hours, 36 hours, maximum maybe 72 hours, they don't expect you to have full blown products with all the features that you can ever come up with and with the most beautiful style. They just want a minimum viable product around a viable concept. So before one thing I missed, before you dive into development, as soon as you have the slightest of idea in your mind, enter into a session with the mentor for the hackathon, and discuss the idea with them. See what the mentor thinks about it. Get an outside point of view, because sometimes what happens is we might think that the idea is revolutionary. Nobody must have thought of it. You talk to a mentor, the mentor's got some hacking expert,
Yeah.
some industry experience, and they'll be like, this is useless, which might be true. So you get that time to go back, and all your development effort has been saved, and you can think of a new idea. So when you have the basic concept panned out, talk to the mentor and explain, have a nice chat, nice conversation. All hackathon mentors are either industry experts or hackathon experts, and they have a lot of experience and they're very friendly. So just talk to them and get validation for your idea before you start developing. Once you start developing, have a clear divide your product into like at least 2 to 3 milestones, like by if it's a 24 hackathon, in the first 6 hours we'll do conceptualization and design. In the next 6 hours we'll do basic templating and APIs or databases, and in the next 6 hours we'll do front end and APIs and database integration. And after that, for 3 hours we'll work on our front end styling, and then maybe in the last 3 hours we'll work on the presentation and the pitch. Never forget the presentation and the pitch. They're arguably the most important part of your hackathon project. You might have developed an application that is amazing, looks great, works great, but if your pitch video and presentation aren't up to the mark, the judges won't be able to see what your product is.
Right.
So a good presentation makes a world of a difference. So focus on your presentation, and it's all right if you have a proof of concept or a minimum viable product at the end of the hackathon. That's absolutely all right. That is what they expect from hackers. They don't expect full blown products, but present it well. Presentation is really important. You should present your POC and your concept well, or your MVP and your concept well. So presentations are really important, or pitch videos as we have them in online hackathons. I hope that answers your
Right.
question
Yeah, this was
satisfactorily.
really, yes, this was really like to the point. And uh, if I truly speak, then one, if someone is going inside a hackathon, he should, or he should she should follow these steps. Because in a brief, that first of all, networking, and then the brainstorming, and once you get the idea, you must seek reference from your mentor or someone who is in the industry or who is in the line of developer section. And then when you get the green signal, divide your part into milestones, so that you also don't, you get the hassle free works ecosystem within your teammates. And at last, the pitch, which will be the game changing thing for your hackathon, right? This was nice, this was really good, thank you. So since you are a gold Microsoft student ambassador, I would like to know that how your journey changed you in terms of everything, like from your soft skills to tech skills, in what ways it benefited you.
Okay. So, being a student ambassador for me was something, when I'm gonna go a little bit into the journey, if that's all right, like
Yes,
how
sure.
I came to this milestone. So for me, the application, the application was something I'd filled as a part of my mindset, where I apply to get rejected. That is, there's no harm in applying. You might
Yeah.
get rejected. So I wasn't. I apply to a lot of places to get rejected. If they select you, then it's better than not trying. The easiest way to fail is to not try. So I wasn't really expecting to get accepted into the program. And once I was accepted, I did not know much about it. So it took me a few months. Actually, I'm from the September 2019 cohort, and I
Mhm.
started being active when the January 2020 cohort came in. So it took me that much time to just get acquainted with what's going on. And the way that this journey has changed me has been, well, the first time I ever traveled alone outside of my city was for the Microsoft Student Partner India Summit. So that was a major experience for me, and it was thanks to the program, because the summit happened. I really wanted to go. It was the first ever time I traveled alone. So that was a major part of my journey. And other things that I learned from this program, or as a, it doesn't it doesn't just help you grow technically. While that it does, obviously, we have a lot of resources when it comes to MS Learn or Pluralsight or LinkedIn Learning, and all
Right.
of those have helped me immensely upskill technically, and we should always use them. But on a personal level, I think I've grown more than I've grown on a technical level. This might not be necessarily true, but that's how I feel. So, as a part of the program, from the very beginning, my first participation in the program was as a part of uh, there was a global virtual call back in January 2020, and it was organized by some folks that used to run the MSP Inspire community. So,
Right.
as a part of that, I started contributing as an MSP. We were then called MSPs, and now we're student ambassadors. So I started contributing to the program from that event. And the first myth or the borders that this program broke for me were the geographical borders, because if you can find, if any of you can just go to the MSP Inspired channel and look for the virtual call, they've got speakers from all over the world, like literally all over the world. And that is one of the best things about this program, where we collaborate, especially on virtual platforms of online events. We're collaborating across cities, countries, continents. I've done events with Eric, who's in US, with these, I think Eric, and then there's Victoria, who's from I am not going to say something wrong. She's from somewhere in Europe. I've forgotten. And then there's student partners from UK. There's some student partners from Dubai. There's a lot of student ambassadors from India. And even in India, usually we're very limited by the city or the state that we're in. But this
Right.
program gives us that. Uh, it gives us that opening to just talk to everybody all over the world, and it's amazing how much you can grow and get to know other cultures. So that was one thing that happened. And another thing that comes with is a sneak peek into the professional world, how the professional world works. You may have experienced it as well. We have
Yes.
a very different way of communicating within ourselves than we do in our colleges, right? So
Right.
it's sort of our first mini step into the professional world, where we understand professional conversations, interactions, and the professional way of working. Maybe a few years even, because I started when I was in my second year. So we get to these
Excuse me, your voice is getting a bit crack. Hello.
All right.
Okay, so there was some disturbance in the network. You can just resume. You can just continue with the things which you were telling.
Yeah, so as I was saying, one of the major advantages we have is the global network that we get to develop as a part of this program. And another advantage that I feel we have is with our peer group, we often feel that it is more of a professional environment with all student ambassadors across the world as it would be with our college peers. So here we do get a sneak peek into the professional world, where we start to understand how the professional world works, how accountability works, how you need to take ownership of your own initiatives, and how you are accountable for your events and your commitments. So I feel like this gives us a head start into building a strong work ethic as well. So those are two major advantages. And as I said, global connections, but that also leads to forming some really good friendships. So that would
Right.
be a third thing that I would say. We've I think in these times of COVID and lockdown, the program and the friends I've made through the program have been an important part of my day-to-day schedule. So even the team with which I participated in the Visual Studio Code Hackathon is a group of student ambassadors, all four of us in four
Right.
different geographical locations. I'm here in Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and my other teammates are from New Delhi, Dehradun, and Saharanpur. So all of us are from very different places, from very uh, geographically diverse places in India. And that team one, we started out as colleagues working on events as student ambassadors, and then the Visual Studio Code Hackathon happened. So that's the set of friends I've made. And all these events and all this engagement really did help me talk and stay afloat during these times as well. And one thing that some of us do find here as well is a safe space. to express, because the program managers and the program leaders and us gold ambassadors, we try to create a safe, non-judgmental, judgment-free space for everybody to be able to share their thoughts, ask their doubts, and be happens in our college groups or class groups, that when somebody asks a question, it might be deemed silly and made fun of, but we make sure that there's space for each and every doubt and question and idea in this program. So it's a nice little virtual safe haven for all ambassadors.
Right, right. Okay, so due to some connectivity issues, Simran won't be able to show the video right now, and but we will continue with our questions. And the next question is like, since you are not only in a community but also at an admirable post, I must say, because in a student ambassador you are in a gold position, and I guess in the GirlsScript also you are in a good post. So my question is that there is always a start, right? And at the start
Mhm.
there are students who are not so, what do you say, who are not so aware that how to do it, or not so ambitious. Then what is the like thing you want to tell to all the viewers who are just at the start moment?
So I would, yes, I do hold leadership positions in both of my communities, but I believe that initially for all of us at the start, we're all just lost college students wanting to get more out of our college journey than just, the academic purposes. So, if you're a little lost and don't know what to do, I think all of us have been there. Every single one of us have been there. So, as I mentioned earlier, that I'm lucky that I'm from Indore, and so is Yashraj, and other people in Indore like Gaurav Chansar, and there is Srishti as well. So all of these people are from Indore, and they were Microsoft student partners back in their college days, and used to run this community called the Microsoft Technical Community Indore, MSTC Indore. And they did so well as student partners. They were recognized at Microsoft Redmond as well. MSTC Indore was recognized at Microsoft Redmond as well. So they laid a very strong foundation for technical communities in Indore. So, excuse me. All these people have, they're here. They are here from time to time. Some of them are in Indore. And so, my first event was the Global Azure Bootcamp that was organized by Indore Technical Community, which was previously known as MSTC. And that was the first time I learned about the student partner program, and that was truly the start of my community journey. And at the very beginning, I did find some mentors or role models to look forward to, but they didn't come to my college to advertise the event. The event was on Meetup, and I found the event. It was during my exams. I went for the event because exams can be handled. 3 to 4 hours don't make a difference. So, at your heart, you've got to have that fire or that want for wanting to do something, for wanting to go out there and get that mentorship, seek that mentorship to do more in your college days than just study. So while you may not be very ambitious, you've got to have that spark somewhere to be able to start, You have to go out of your way to find these people that can act as mentors and role models for you in the future. So for me, with the student ambassador program or the student partner program, I entered at the Alpha 1 level, as we used to have it, and I did with the responsibility that comes with being one of the student leaders in the program, the Gold Student Ambassador status. And with the Girl Script community, though, it wasn't an arc such as this. With that community, I was one of my college batchmates, one of my colleagues had found a form that was going around looking for new chapter leads for the
Mhm.
foundation. And it accepted chapter leads, that at least two chapter leads for each chapter, and one had to be female. So I was lucky that my colleague wanted to start a chapter and he needed a female lead.
Mhm.
So I filled out that form and I came into the we both got selected at chapter leads. We got an induction, a proper induction into that community, and the chapter had officially been formed within a month or so. And my co-lead decided that they could not lead anymore. They thought they were just, we were batchmates, we were new third semester students, and they believed that the leadership position was for somebody much senior. So I was left with I was given this opportunity to lead this chapter because I had faith in myself. So you've got to have that kind of ambition and faith in yourself to be able to grow. So it took me a few months to come together with my chapter, and there was an opportunity uh, to organize the global CFP day, which is the Global Diversity CFP Day within all Girl Script chapters. And so we did that, and the rest has been history. It's a good chapter. I've got a great team. But in the beginning, it always takes a little bit of courage from your side to take that first step, be it fulfilling an application to be a part of the student ambassador program, or be it to apply to be a lead of a chapter, and believe in yourself that you'll be able to lead a chapter. So since then, I've had members in my chapter, I've had organizers. My team consists of my own seniors, but they've had faith in me and I've had faith in myself, so I've been able to grow. So one thing that I learned from the GirlScript experience was that the most important thing for you to grow in a community is to know that you add value. So even as a lead or as a gold student ambassador, we aren't what the community is made of. We are the leaders of the community. We're there to help the community and assist the community grow in the best way. But any community is formed by their members. So even if you're a member of a community, you are essentially adding value to that community. So have faith in yourself and in the value that you add to the community, and volunteer to do work. It takes a pinch of courage to stand up when somebody asks, is there someone in this room who would like to help us do this or do that? Maybe design a website or develop a website or design posters or write some content. And just using that pinch of courage and stepping up goes a long way.
Right.
Uh,
So, so it is very much true. It would be very much true to say that if you want to get somewhere, then you have to have this ambition and the fire, and then you have to put up your own effort and your
that's
own
true.
courage. Then only someone can mentor you, or else no one can put you up to your certain position.
Yeah, because as college students, we're old enough. We don't need anybody holding our hands and walking us across the road, and nobody will do that. People will tell you how you can cross the road, but they won't hold your hand and walk with you because they've walked that path already. They don't need to do that again. You have to walk your own path. And
True.
to reach somewhere, you need to start somewhere. So take that small little leap of faith, use that pinch of courage, and volunteer, start participating. In communities,
Right.
a small effort goes a long way. I think you must have had similar experiences.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so ending this video, I would like to ask you anything if you want to add as a last note for all the viewers, and also share your some social media handles where anyone can approach you. And yes, of course, I will put up the social media handles with the video also. So if anything you want to share at last.
So we've spoken a lot about my community experience. What I did fail to mention was my technical interests. My technical interests mainly lie in the web development and web design domain, and that's where I've been working for the past a year and a half odd or so. So if you have any any queries or any doubts or you want to discuss that, be sure to hit me up in the social handles given in the description. And while my Instagram handle would be provided, I would prefer that you reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter. And we can talk books. I love reading. We can talk music, and we can talk communities. So we can talk communities, music, web dev, web design, general tech, and books. So, yeah, hit me up if you have any questions following up this session. Thanks a lot for organizing it, Shibam. Thanks a lot for having me today. This is a great initiative.
Thank you for saying. And like I must feel that everyone will be obliged to hear you and see your point of view, the way you experience, you shared your experiences, and it was great. So with this, we come to the end of the video, and I would like to thank all the viewers who are watching this. And I will be back with another session with worldwide tech people and with worldwide tech communities. Thank you.